Welcome to Guys We Fucked. Guys We Fucked.
Guys We Fucked. I'm Krystyna.
I'm Corinne.
We're
sorry about last night. The anti-slut shaming podcast. I never stop.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Guys We Fucked.
It's the anti-slut shaming podcast. I'm Corinne.
I'm Krystyna. And we're in New York City right now, but if you are in LA, San Diego, or Miami, and you need a rental car, we wanted to tell you about Skirt. It's only available in those two cities as of now, but it's an app that you download on your phone, SKURT. Corinne and I use this every time we go to LA.
So good.
We've driven in fucking Mustangs and Mercedes. Made me feel like a rich person.
Never felt cooler.
Honestly, yeah. I've smoked everyone at lights, even when they weren't even trying to race me. You didn't hear that, Skirt. The car gets delivered to your door, and they're as cheap as $21 a day. You don't have to be 21 years old, or you only have to be 21 years old.
Yeah.
You don't have to be 25, which is the normal age most companies require. So you only have to be 21, and you don't need a credit card, which is exciting for me because I don't have one. There's no gas markup fees, and you only pay the market price at the pump. And if you guys are in LA, San Diego, or Miami, you can get $30 off your first Skirt booking, which is basically a free car for a day if you use the promo code GWF when you check out. This company could not make renting a car easier. It's incredible. We went to our Airbnb when we got to LA this last trip, and then some nice gentleman just fucking delivered a Mercedes to us.
Yeah, everyone's
like,
all
God
like
damn.
cute, and the cars are all nice.
Yeah.
There's like no, it's not like they're gonna send you some like compact car. Like everything is like top of the line.
Yeah, and you get variations. You can get like a fancy ass car. It's the categories labeled something different on the app. Fancy ass car, little ass car, medium ass car.
Whatever works for you.
Yeah. So we just want to let you know that it's a good option for car rentals in those cities. They're fucking shout out to Skirt, man.
Happy holidays.
Are you enjoying this holiday season, Corinne?
I am. You know what?
Really?
I realized, yeah, why wouldn't I? I love the holidays.
I'm so stressed.
I'm
lately.
obsessed with holidays.
Yeah, I love Christmas.
No, I felt like this was great because like this is the last like thing that we need to do until Christmas. So I felt like I was like heading into my last day of school.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
so
great.
excited.
And I get to see my brother.
Yeah,
it's all good.
Uncles, get to drink with family.
Ugh,
I'm
not
so
if you're
excited.
me. There's like no alcohol in my holidays.
Oh, why?
Alcohol and silence. My family doesn't drink really.
Oh.
Like my grandparents will have a glass of wine, but other than that, we're not a drinking family.
My parents only drink on Christmas, like in the holiday area. When I have my uncles come in town, my mom texts me going, "Your dad's already drunk with Uncle Craig, LOL."
Oh, wow.
I'm like, good for him.
I've never
drinks.
I don't think I've ever seen either of my parents drunk, actually. My dad's 6'6", so it takes so much. And my mom, I mean, she probably hasn't been drunk since she was a teenager.
My mom used to drink wine with my grandpa when he was still alive, and they had a karaoke machine when I was in high school, and she would just sing karaoke until like 2 a.m. and I would scream at her. Like, Mom, I'm trying to go to bed!
But you love karaoke.
I know. I feel like a real asshole. I got to apologize.
Oh my God. I was like, in fact, we did it. We sang it this weekend.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we did. That was fun.
Yeah.
I had a personal. What was I going to talk about? This is so stupid. But you know when like you want to use your girlness to get shit. You know, like to get a free drink at a bar.
Oh, yeah, your womanly ways. Yeah, of course.
Your womanly ways.
I do it all the time.
Me too. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not proud of it.
I
just
don't care.
saying I do it.
You got to use the tools the good Lord gave you.
So I was on my way to New York Comedy Club, but I was like, I'm so tired. I've been staring at my computer all day. I need to go to Starbucks. I want to get like an iced Americano. Because I knew the Starbucks by me is open till 11. It was 9:30. And when the doors...
This is the start to the whitest story I've ever heard.
The whitest... fucking... just puts a dildo up my ass. Why don't you?
I wouldn't even know what Americano was if it weren't for you.
It's watered down espresso. Anyway, one of the doors was closed at Starbucks, and I was like, this isn't right. And I went to the other door, and I was like, oh, thank God, I need my coffee. Yeah. In my head, I was like, and then these people before me were like, oh, can we order blah, blah, blah? And the person at the cash register was like, I'm sorry, we have to get everyone out. We're closing soon. And I was like, that is bullshit in my head.
Oh, okay.
So I go up to the guy, and because he goes to lock the other door, he like leaves the register. And then I go up and I'm like, hey, can I just get an Americano? Like real quick, like a nice Americano. And he he's like, yeah, sure. And he looked like he had to pee really bad. And then I was like, are you okay? Are you feeling okay? He goes, no, I'm pretty sure my appendix burst and I'm the only person in the Starbucks with the key. So I have to get everybody out before I can go to the hospital. Oh my
God.
And I was like, okay, did you get that Americano? Yeah. All right. And I was like, everybody out. He has to go to the hospital. And wow, what a bitch am I.
I was like,
I didn't know that was the reason. I just thought, I don't know.
I was like, at the same time, the most selfless and selfish move I've ever heard.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with opposites now. Thanks, Kate Wolf. Opposite states of mind. Yeah, I felt so bad. And then people
both can coexist.
Yeah, they can. Thanks, Kate Wolf, for my healing. And when I was waiting for my Americano, people started coming in. I'm like, we're closing soon. You got to get out. You were closed. They're not open. So I just became a martyr for him.
Like a yelling woman in a jacket.
I felt so bad. I was like, I can't believe I used my breasts to maneuver in a last Americano.
But the thing is, in winter,
appendix.
Could he even see them?
What?
In winter, your boobs are hidden.
I unzip my coat.
Oh, you left that part out. I was going to say, I was like, coats are winter makes it difficult to use your womanly ways.
No one is sexy walking around in the winter.
No. Well, that's why I always try to get like a really cute coat because it's not like, I don't think anyone's going to be like, wow, I can see her figure under there, but you can see my style.
Yeah. And you're like, I like that style, sexy.
Well, it's like Carrie Bradshaw. Like she wasn't really that pretty, but she had a style that was like, you couldn't beat.
By the way, speaking of Carrie Bradshaw, I tweeted about this, but I always like wanted to be Carrie Bradshaw when I was in high school because I learned about sex through Sex and the City.
Right.
Type in sex shit on my fucking laptop last night, and I had my window open, and I was smoking a cigarette out the window in my underwear and a t-shirt with my curly blonde hair, and I was like, holy shit, I am Carrie Bradshaw. I just had to say that.
Except for she would never live in Murray Hill.
I know.
One more step.
Yeah, that's the only element that I'm missing.
You are.
Carrie's apartment was really nice. I mean, for what she did, but whatever. Guys,
she was a writer.
Yeah, but I feel like she never got many jobs.
She had her own column.
Yeah, but like
she was on the side of a bus.
Yeah, that's true. But like,
I've never been on the side of a bus.
She was just too busy bitching about men for her to talk about her work. So.
That was the whole show, though.
I know.
My mom was like, she actually pointed it out. My mom, every time I review things that my mom did while raising us, I was like, wow, really, like very progressive, dude. My brother had so many girl toys.
Your mom. And she never want to be on the podcast?
She's so great. She can't because of her job.
Oh, okay. Guys, come see us live.
Yes.
On Thursday, January 5th at 7:30 p.m. This beautiful angel called Wendy Starling is having her birthday show. It's our Glamour Puss, 7:30 p.m. Zinc Bar, 82 West 3rd Street. Wendy's birthday show. It's going to be crazy. Tickets are $15. You have to be 21 and over. Link is in the description of this podcast.
And then on Friday, January 27th at 11:15 p.m., it is the first Nacho Bitches of 2017. You know, hopefully I'll be around still. You never know. You never know what I'm... by then? I don't know. I'm going skiing, so could be the end.
Steven one time, snow tubing, tore his shoulder off. Snow tubing. I'm like,
isn't that for children?
Yes. Children and dogs.
Oh, gosh.
Can snow tube without injury.
I feel like I'm the strongest I've ever been physically, so, you know, I'm just going to go for it. Because my mom was like, be careful. And I was like, oh, I'm only getting older.
I know. That's the thing. Knees creak, and then hopefully you got to cross your fingers before you go skiing.
All right, and we are going back on tour. This is the second leg. I mean, this is like the half leg, aka 2 dates in Florida. Hi, if you're in Florida,
can you come?
Please, if you know anyone in Florida, even if you don't want to come, maybe buy it as a ticket, just buy like a gift for someone that might not want it. Hanukkah and Christmas fall during the same time this year, so there's absolutely no excuses. Fort Lauderdale, Wednesday, December 28th, we're at the Improv. Next day, Thursday, December 29th, West Palm Beach. We are also at the Improv there. Please. I don't even care.
There's not a lot of guys we fuck fans apparently in West Palm Beach or Fort Lauderdale because they're all too busy on their boat. So, but it's a really fun show, okay? And we're going to challenge you to go outside your comfort zone.
Yeah.
So just come.
Yeah, the show's good. It's like every time Florida's brought up, I really try to get less mad at Florida, but then I get more mad.
This week in the news, a man tried to fuck a snake. Betty's from Florida. A Florida resident. I knew it every time.
I know. It's tropical New Jersey.
That's a good point.
And people always like apologize. I'm just like, don't apologize. Just buy a ticket. I'll accept your apology in the form of a ticket. It's $20. Please, guys. Okay. Also, wow. I don't even know where to begin with this. There's so much information, guys. You know it. You love it. You might not have used it, but you definitely Googled it. Give it up for Squatty Potty. Yes. Thank you so much for sponsoring us. It only took a very long fight with our agents who sell ads for us. I mean, what? What are you talking about? Guys, experience the benefits of healthy toilet posture. You didn't know that was a thing. Now you do. And achieve perfect elimination all year round with the original Squatty Potty toilet stool. And Krystyna added LOL stool, which is a good joke.
That's the only thing I added. The rest is completely their copy.
Squatty Potty is based on science.
Oh, that's all I need to go along with something.
And it really works. You know, anything else is not based on science. This is based on science. That's very vague, but
what if I don't believe in science?
I do like it. Well, I mean, I don't know. God's not reaching up your asshole. So
isn't he though?
It's been recommended by doctors and health professionals worldwide. I mean, that's a little vague, but I'll go with it.
I was reading these. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to put them on and see where Corinne goes with them.
Squatty Potty helps. I didn't even read this ahead of time. We're so professional. Squatty Potty helps anyone who might suffer with constipation, hemorrhoids, and too much straining in the bathroom.
Dude, I did that today.
That is true. I want to say that as a youngin', I did visit a proctologist, and straining is it was a traumatizing experience.
I used to hold my poo. I don't know why I did this.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I would like hold it. And then it would get to the point where it was like shitting out a dictionary.
Oh, sometimes I like to hold it to make sure, you know, just for the sake of time, to make sure that like if
next time it's going.
If we're going, I don't like to sit there. Like I like to hold it until it's almost coming out. And
prairie dog and it dead.
Oh, good.
Never prairie dog again.
Squatting opens the colon and gives waste a straight shot at exiting the body. So basically, if you don't buy Squatty Potty, you're not giving your colon a chance. And do we not
waste a chance.
all, deserve that opportunity? Complete elimination is very important to overall general health. And Squatty Potty affords that.
I don't even really know what that means.
Well, they're using affords and not the typical way that we use it, but it is correct. Okay, good.
Way to go out of your comfort zone, Squatty Potty.
Yeah, I also just ruined this. Okay. Squatty Potty is the most successful company that has appeared on Shark Tank. They're really proud of that.
They are so proud.
I don't want to say that Shark Tank is the one show that I always flip past, but it is. And has millions of fans.
Not Corinne Fisher.
And it's like, I'll watch anything. I'll watch the show where the gypsies are getting married and just mad at each other.
You're like, Shark Tank, ew, what?
I don't need a plot, but I also don't need Shark Tank. Squatty Potty has thousands of 5-star reviews on Amazon. And I know when I'm looking to make a purchase about my health, I'm like, what does this dingbat on Amazon have to say? I mean, like, but the thing is, it's like, have you ever even taken the time to write an Amazon review?
No, but I do go by the number of stars. Like, if someone was like, this thing sucked, and like 80 people said it, I'm like, probably not.
Right, because only a mental case would leave an Amazon review.
And it had to be really bad to do it. But, if you've eliminated everything, you got more energy to write it.
This copy gets even better.
Yeah, I know. This is my favorite one.
The New York Post says, I'm going to stop you right there, Squatty Potty. Isn't that the same publication that took a picture of a man who was about to get hit by a subway train?
Yeah, the old Asian guy.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that.
That haunts me every night. Oh. I mean, I don't even know what to say. I will never not be over that. I had a tough week. Now I'm thinking about that. I watched the Jean Bonnet Lifetime movie.
Oh, why'd you do that?
I don't know. I had trouble sleeping. Back to this. The New York Post says Squatty Potty is the best chunk of plastic $25 can buy.
Oh, isn't that what a review?
Well, also, isn't it $29?
I don't know. I bought 4 of them though for Christmas.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
A lot of people bought them. I think it's like the more we make fun of it, the more people want it.
I know. And then people, like, what's happening is they're buying them ironically because it's fucking hilarious. And then they're like, oh, wait. Oh, shit, this actually works.
Yeah. No, it's a hilarious gift. Everyone will get a good laugh. But then you're going to secretly try it at least once.
Absolutely.
And it's going to work out. We all saw the animated picture on the website. You know, if I see a cartoon doing something, I'm like, yeah, well, let me do that too. There's a Squatty Potty model for every style and budget.
It's true. There's a bamboo one that I almost got.
But I do want to say, if $29 is not in your budget, maybe opt for something else first.
They're going to hate that part.
I mean, I was surprised how inexpensive this was, though.
I know.
Find out what you're missing. Squatty Potty is available nationwide at Bed Bath & Beyond, Target, and Costco stores, or you can go to squattypotty.com, use code POOP, and save 25% off your entire order. I mean, definitely buy it online because, number one, you don't want to be carrying that around. And number two, use the code to make us look good. This is the best deal out there. I mean, did Donald Trump write that copy?
This is the most amazing. It's terrible. It's amazing.
So
it's terrific.
Don't use any other coupon codes. Okay, go to squattypotty.com. Again, that's code POOP. You're not going to forget that, and save 25%. And receive free shipping.
Oh, that's nice. Wait, they tell us where else you can get it, and then say don't use. Okay, whatever.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, like, I guess if you're out running errands and you're just coincidentally at Bed Bath & Beyond, it would be fine. Like, it would be really hilarious on the Upper East Side to just like buy a bunch and maybe drop them comically.
So after you're done taking all the shits, you guys, go download this app on your phone because you need some help. If you've ever thought about going to therapy but found it too inconvenient, like you got to go outside, you got to get up, you got to put pants on, not in that order, you got to do it in a different order, it's too expensive, or it's just too embarrassing to make it into the office. Well, I mean, get over yourself. Then give Talkspace a try. Talkspace is an online therapy company, and they make it easy to connect with a licensed therapist handpicked for you for as little as $32 a week. If you use Talkspace, you could text, audio, and video message your therapist as much as you want. I wonder how they feel about that. Your Talkspace therapist can listen to you vent about work or family, explore your relationships with the people around you, and help you put on the path to a happier life. To sign up to go or learn more. I cannot fucking read out loud. God damn it. To sign up or to learn more, go to Talkspace.com/GWF. I'm going to go to fucking Talkspace and try to rid the shame of me not being able to read out loud. And as a special offer for our listeners, you can use coupon code GWF to get $30 off your first month and show your support for Guys We Fucked, the anti-slut shaming podcast. Talkspace. Therapy for how we live today.
I kind of want to sign up just to see who's on there.
You up? I mean, yeah, but
really excited for the holidays, guys. And what better way to commemorate Christmas than with this email? I could have raped an Uber passenger.
Oh, you don't say. Okay.
All right. Perfect. Hey, guys. I know you get tons of these. Not really.
Not like that.
So I don't want to take up too much of your time. I drive for Uber on the weekends, and listening to comedy podcasts keeps me zen during long nights. That's how I got introduced to your fun podcast. I had an experience with a passenger last night that has me concerned. I got a request in the suburbs and went to pick up the request. I get to the address and see 5 people standing there, then see one girl on the floor.
Oh.
Uh-oh. We've all had that night.
Yep, I've been that girl.
2 of the people are helping the girl on the floor to my car, and I am at first concerned because I don't want this girl to get sick in my car. Then after they put her in the car alone, they tell me to take off.
Bitches.
Now I'm concerned because I wanted to make sure she was okay to be by herself. The girl that requested the trip said she'll be fine and told me to take off.
She'll be fine. Just leave.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is good that you get to actually type in the address and you can trace it.
Good point.
You can trace it on your phone. The drunk girl was passed out the entire trip, and I tried to drive as smoothly as possible to make sure she didn't get sick and got to the destination. I turned on the lights and said, "We're here," and she couldn't stay conscious long enough to communicate properly. After a few minutes, I asked if she needed help because she couldn't walk before and there was snow everywhere. She said she was okay at first, then agreed that I can help her. We got out of the car and she said this wasn't her address, that she was at another address on the same street. Okay, well, her friend tried.
Like minimally, though.
I helped so much. I sent my drunk friend to the wrong house.
On my daddy's credit card.
But it was kind of a mind fuck because it was on the same street. So if you're drunk, like, you know.
Like, are you sure?
Yeah.
Drunky.
I helped her back into the car and she passed out again and I drove to the right address. Helped her to her door to the apartment and she said she didn't have a key. Oh boy.
God.
I asked if she had a roommate and she said yes and tried calling her. At this point, I'm holding this girl up because she will face plant if I don't hold her. Then a couple walks by and the guy is giving me a very judgmental look. I am aware of how bad this must have looked, that I am holding up a severely intoxicated girl and trying to get into an apartment. And then when they tried getting into the door right next to the drunk girls, I asked them for help. I explained the situation and I didn't know this girl and I'm just trying to make sure she gets home okay. I mean, thank God she didn't live next door to Jeffrey Dahmer.
That would have sucked. Well, no, she's a woman. He wouldn't care.
That she doesn't have a key and roommate isn't answering her phone. All right, whatever. The guy neighbor says he recognizes her and says he can try to help. I ask if there's a landlord to call and he said he would try to contact him. Drunk girl butts in and says she doesn't need the landlord. She just needs to go home.
Fuck a landlord. Fuck you.
Well, I mean, honestly, like, can you imagine like calling your landlord in New York because you're too drunk to get in?
He'd be like, go fuck yourself. Sleep on the road.
Yeah, the landlord would be so pissed. And then she said she can go home with me. So the girl is now drunkenly telling the Uber driver she can go home with him. That's good. I quickly said that's not happening. And as soon as I did, the look of judgment left the neighbor's face. The neighbor's girlfriend checked the back entrance to the apartment and it was open. Safety first. I helped the girl to the back entrance of the building and then the neighbors took her the rest of the way. The neighbor's girlfriend thanked me and said I was a good person. And then I took off. Went to Wendy's to grab a quick bite and went back to drive. That's my favorite part of the story.
Wendy's. I did fries in the Frosty. It was great.
I love that he included that detail. I felt like it was a personal shout out to me. So thank you. I know this is a lengthy story, but I think it's really messed up how this girl's friend treated her. Your show has a wide audience, so hopefully a story like this can make a small difference in letting people know that you shouldn't just pawn a friend off in an Uber. It may seem harmless, but it could be like playing Russian roulette. There are some real creepy or shady dudes that would pounce on an opportunity to take an advantage of a girl that drunk. I was happy to help, but this night could have gone wrong in 1,000 different ways. And then he has a signature on his
I included it
on his email that says Mahatma Gandhi, be the change that you wish to see in the world.
I mean, that's what he did.
Yeah, and I was like, we get it, you're a hero. Okay,
he didn't rape her because he don't want people to rape.
Well, my problem with this email was the subject line. Is that when you see a drunk girl, is your first thought that you're a hero because you didn't rape her?
Yeah, that's a little messed up.
Well, I think it's just kind of like, yeah, it's like people's thoughts really just do go to that. It's like, no, you shouldn't even been thinking about raping her.
Yeah.
At all.
But, and that's exactly what I thought. And I read his email and I was like, wow, good for you that you didn't rape someone. But then.
No, he did do the right thing. But
no,
I was troubles me that he thought that.
If I were the female Uber driver, I would have thought the same fucking thing. Not thank God I wouldn't have raped her. Mm-hmm. But thank God she asked me to come. Like I was the car that picked her up.
Well, yeah, no, I think it speaks volumes about the society that we live in.
Where you're like thankful that you didn't rape somebody.
Yeah, and also kind of just like how people view like a drunk girl alone as not just, we don't, like when I see a drunk guy alone, I'm like, oh, that guy had a fun night.
He's fine.
When you see a drunk girl alone, you feel troubled and
because she's
worried.
Way more vulnerable.
Yeah.
And this girl was exactly that. And it's jarring. And, you hear so many bad stories. So I understand. I would think the same thing. Like, oh my God, she could have, but then it's the whole, it ain't her fault. Like, you know what I mean? Well, I don't know. It's a friend's being an asshole.
You have to take responsibility for when you drink too much.
I know.
When you drink too much, does that mean you deserve to get raped? No. Of course, you never deserve to get raped. But it's like we can't just
have to take precautions.
Yeah, we can't walk around the world invincible. I mean, I gotten so drunk so many times, and I'm every time I'm like, oh man, I'm so thankful that I have friends who are so good.
Okay.
But yeah. Anyway, don't rape your Uber passengers.
Hey, good for you for not raping it, but also I get it. And
I'm sure her friend who was also drunk, just not as drunk, who set up the Uber too.
Yeah, I guess I personally have never been in a situation like that because I don't black out, but that's also luck.
Right.
And I don't really get wasted to the point where I don't know where I am. I don't think I've ever, unless I'm at someone's home, my friend's house or something.
Right.
So
I've gotten that drunk, but I always know where I am.
Yeah, that's good. You got a good GPS in your head.
This is me on too many nights. I can't believe I'm home in the morning.
Right?
I can't believe.
Oh, wow, I woke up in my bed. Good for me.
I know. I'm just like, magic is real. All right. Again, this is a podcast about doing what we say, not what we do.
This subject line, Dad didn't talk to me. Dad dropped dead. Tons of therapy equals a message for others. I am 23, living in a large city, which is going to be a part of the next tour. Yay, come out. I was listening to your most recent podcast with Kate Wolf while on the plane and nearly cried. I probably would have cried if a strange man was not touching my shoulders with me. Oh, God, I hope you're okay. My father was the parent that refused to talk to me. We fought, and I wanted him to be the bigger man and approach him and reach out. We were both stubborn, waiting for the other one to reach out. I would go home, and he would hide from me. He would eat dinner with me and the rest of the family, but besides that, nothing. The reason this is all in past tense is that he died. He just dropped dead one day this year. My 2016 has been extra shitty. I don't remember the last time I talked to my father on the phone before he died. I don't remember the last time I spoke more than a few words to him. It was probably him passing the phone to my mom or me asking him to do something for me. So I wanted to give a message to listeners, which I wish I had heard. Although I can't speak for every experience or issue, I hope this helps one person. If you and your parent or parental figure are fighting and they won't be the bigger person, man, woman, etc., be the bigger person. Stop being a punk ass bitch. Woman up, man up, person up. Just suck it up and do it. Save yourself the weekly therapy bills and increased intimacy issues if they drop dead tomorrow. It is sad that sometimes you have to be the person to reach out because you think so highly of your parents, but you need to do it. This is the what ifs that I deal with on a daily basis are worse than what it would have taken for me to reach out. My father will never see me get married if I do that or have children and be there as I grow up. So if you have a parent, God damn it, reach out. I wish I could be fighting with my dad and I don't get that luxury because the world is unfair. So fucking do something. It will only take a minute and it will not only make your life better, but it will be enough to let your parent reach out. Just don't want to talk to them. Send them an email, mail them a letter, send them smoke signals. Just reach out.
Happy holidays, everybody. Well, that was good.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree.
I agree too. And I thought that was such a sad story. And I'm really glad that she sent us that email.
Yeah, just because your parent is older doesn't mean they are wiser. I mean, it's like, it's the younger person kind of should be wiser, not in like experience over years, but like as society progresses and ideas change and kind of go, like you're both coming in with like different types of knowledge. So
yeah, and I really understand being so stubborn that you're like, well, I'll wait for him to fucking talk to me.
Right.
But then you hear a story like that and you're like, you think of your own parent dying and you're like, yeah, I'm going to call him.
Yeah, because you can work it out. You can just take matters into your own hand. I mean, or maybe you can't, but at least try.
At least try.
So this week's guest, I am very excited. We've gotten a lot of requests over the years to have on a person who identifies as non-binary. And it's hard. It's not like we haven't thought about it. We, of course, have. It's just we don't. I know one person through a friend who is, but other than that, it's just not something a lot of people are talking about, and we want to talk about it. We're both confused. I think I speak for myself and Krystyna.
Oh, I've never had a conversation about it with a person because you could talk all you want about with somebody who identifies as male or female.
Right.
That's not going to fucking get you anywhere. You got to talk to the person.
Right. And there's so much new terminology and new levels of acceptance. And we're going to ask, I already told this person, we're going to ask you a lot of dumbass questions.
Oh, yeah.
So just listen to this with an open mind. Maybe, try not to roll your eyes.
Well, this is a thing where if
we both rolled our eyes
says
at stuff like this.
I'm not he or she, I go by they. I'm like, all right.
Right.
But we always say when someone is saying something or talking or you listen to them.
Yeah.
So We need to listen.
So let's hear out their story today. This is someone who does use the pronouns they, them, and they are a senior editor at Bustle, which is awesome. We've definitely been written up in Bustle, so
that's why I like it.
That is the main reason. Very excited to introduce our guest today. Please give it up for Sam Escobar.
I've been kicked out of hotels, kicked out of bars, kicked out of parties, radio stations. I've been kicked out of parking lots, kicked out of stadiums. No, I ain't getting kicked out of here. Oh, I ain't getting kicked out of here. I've been kicked out of diners, I've been kicked out of stores, I've been kicked out of movies, I've been kicked out of malls, I've been kicked out of festivals, one after another. But oh, I ain't getting kicked out of here. Oh, I ain't getting kicked out of here. I belong here. I belong here. I can dress how I want, I can talk how I want, sit back in my chair and eat sloppy. I belong here. I belong here. I'm the architect, I'm the CEO, I'm the capo di tutti capi. I've been kicked out of rock, I've been kicked out of roll, I've been kicked out of cars, charity balls, I've been kicked out of class.
We already gave an intro, and basically, I mean, just bear with us as we ask you a lot of
Stupid ass.
dumb questions.
That is totally fine.
Yeah, because I'm like, well, it's like people might be like, you're ignorant, but it's not ignorant if you are open and wanting to learn, not knowing the information, and then being closed off to it is ignorant. But if you're, we're trying.
Yeah.
We just don't know.
And I talk about
us. We don't know a lot of that about anything. Okay, so yeah. You identify as non-binary.
Yeah.
Did I make a mistake yet?
No. No, you're totally on point. You got everything wrong, but no. Yes, I identify as non-binary. I came out, I guess, really publicly, I guess, last Christmas Eve.
How appropriate.
Oh, wow.
It's like 1 year anniversary almost. What was that experience?
Well, I'd kind of like told some of my friends in college, and then I scuttled back into the closet, I would say, because I was like, I had figured it out from message boards. I'd kind of always had some inkling that I didn't really understand like why I didn't identify as female. I just couldn't put my finger on it.
Interesting. Yeah, because I'm curious about what led you to discover this, or what you were feeling that led you to investigating it.
There are little things that I like now can pinpoint and be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. For example, I like see, I guess, first of all, I've never liked the name Samantha, which sounds like a very silly kind of thing. It's like a lot of people don't like their full names and they like their nicknames. But for some reason, it was something about it that just like didn't feel accurate. And like the same as, would have been with Jennifer or Jen, both of which have, kind of female connotations. I can't really explain why it didn't work, but I've always been a Sam. And when I was in third grade, I like chose my own middle name, which is, so my parents named me Samantha Louise Escobar. And I, in third grade, decided it would be Llewellyn, which I didn't even know at the time was like a boy's name. And it makes a little bit more sense now.
Llewellyn?
Yeah, Llewellyn.
It's a boy's name.
It's a Welsh boy's name.
Okay.
But I saw it in a book and I was like, cool. And so I didn't, have the context, but then in retrospect, that one's more like a funny sort of thing. But also I knew I was queer pretty early. I didn't know the word for it, but I knew I liked girls, but at like probably as of like third grade, I think. But then when I got older and I started like watching porn, I would like see myself even in straight porn from the male perspective, no matter what. And that was really disorienting when I started realizing that was not because I was just queer. It was because I was, I identified a little bit more with men in like, in terms of anatomy, but also I'm not sure perspective in some ways. I've still been kind of like sorting that part out. But there was definitely a moment in college where I realized that like, it was not just I like banging girls sort of thing.
What was the moment?
I think, it was just like, I think it was just, I was on the message board.
Okay.
Yeah. Like
and
a
so
series of moments.
Yeah. It was like
led
a
up
bunch
to
of
it.
things. And I remember I was, I like kind of had been thinking about it, and I was just like, I didn't like the way that I felt pressured to like look a certain way all the time, but it wasn't really a societal norm thing. It was like, I literally just didn't want my body to look the way that it looked.
Oh, okay.
And
like you didn't feel comfortable, like, because you have the genitalia and female form. And do you feel like it doesn't like feel connected to you? Or?
Sometimes. So like the way that I feel about it is like, I like the way I look in a lot of ways. Like I think I love makeup. I love presenting very conventionally feminine in a lot of ways, but like I've never felt connected to like my anatomy. I wish that I could be a little bit more fluid, because so many people kind of conflate being non-binary with being androgynous. And like, so they have this idea of like Ruby Rose and people who are like very tall, very thin, and very petite and very, thin and
with like a boy haircut, like a chick with a boy haircut, no
exactly.
makeup, but looks flawless.
Very
kinda.
twiggy,
More flat chested. Yeah, because
exactly.
I mean, that is I hope that doesn't make you uncomfortable.
No,
That's
totally
like
fine.
one of the first things I was like, wow, you have huge breasts.
Great boobs.
34F. So it's like
34F.
Right, which I felt like must be an interesting thing to deal. I mean, because I don't even know what it's like to have large
And
breasts.
I hated my breasts. But it wasn't because I didn't feel connected to them. It was because they got me attention that I just did not want at the time.
Yeah.
Because I was a double D since way too young.
Yeah.
And so I hated, because some of the things you're describing, like I felt that too. But for me, it was, I didn't want some fucking old creepy dude to say something gross and make me feel icky.
And it's like, I think it's like, I love my boobs in some ways, but in other ways, I'm like, I wish that I could just subtract them some of the time. And it's like, it's part of it's just like, I see myself in a very specific way, and I wish that it could go kind of back and forth. And I know that there's only one way that people can see me, because like, I can't, unless I literally surgically had them removed, which I don't want to do. There's no way that I could be ever seen as particularly androgynous. So
right, because you have almost like a pinup-esque figure.
Yeah,
so it's like the most feminine.
Damn it.
Right, which is that I think that's so interesting, because the only other non-binary person I know has that kind of look that you just described.
Yeah. Most of the ones that most of the people that I know that identify as non-binary or are gender fluid, they are, I would say a lot of them, have very short hair, which is great, because I feel like that allows a lot of people to like switch, from being seen as masculine or feminine, conventionally speaking. For me, I have a very big head. And so if I have short hair, I've had it 3 times.
I was going to say, did you do it? And you're like, damn it, I got lumps on my head.
I have a lovely head. Also, my dad looks like Hispanic Jackie Chan, and I think I inherited some of that. And so, but like pale. And so when I've cut my hair, I did not look like Mandy Moore in How to Deal, which is the original person I was trying to look like.
I love that was your inspiration.
That's amazing.
There's some bad
Good look.
But I definitely, I kind of eventually embraced it and was like, oh no, like how I present and how I identify are not the same thing. And I don't need to, bind my chest, which I did, a little bit in college. And
how do you do that? How do you bind your chest?
Some people use straight up like duct tape around a bra, and that's like very painful, effective in some ways, very painful. There are also like binders that you can actually buy that are really great, compression shirts that are really great. It kind of hurts my chest, like
I can't even lay on my stomach. I can't imagine
it's like
binding
really tight. And so I have friends that love those, and they, for some people it's like extremely necessary, like just like it's a gender affirmation feeling, and it's really important to them.
Yeah, and I think too, because people are, a lot of people are ignorant to this specific issue. I think it's safe to say, even the ones that claim to be like liberal and feminist and accepting, blah blah blah. That's great, but I feel like it's got to be easier for that person to bind their chest, to get a short haircut, so that other people at least know. And they're not like, that's a woman, and they don't have to fight that or explain it or whatever.
Yeah. And I think for a lot, like I have a few friends who, they came out as trans, and they then eventually, they embraced being very masculine presenting. And because they were kind of told that like, that's the only way that people will see you as a man. And then at some point they were like, you know what? Like if I want to wear lipstick, like that doesn't make me not a trans man. It just means that I am a man who also likes to wear lipstick. And there's nothing, that means that you're not the identity that you are anymore. And I think it's just because we associate presentation so heavily with identity, and in reality they're such different things. But for some people it is extremely necessary and it is like so important to them, but for others it's not. And I feel like that's kind of a lot of the issue, is that like there's a very mainstream idea of like, this is what a trans woman looks like, and this is what a trans man looks like, and this is how they're supposed to present, and passing is the most important thing, and blah, blah, blah. And in reality, it's like a lot of times, passing is a safety thing as opposed to a wanting to look a certain way thing.
And by passing, you mean that they come across to the general public as the gender that they want to identify as?
Yeah, that they are. Okay. Yeah. And so that they, as opposed to, the sex that they were assigned at birth. And because people are very, I am fortunate in that a lot of the kind of prejudice that a lot of non-binary and trans people face, like I don't experience, because the way that I like to present is so much more conventionally seen as feminine, and people don't really guess that I am non-binary, because I don't get a lot of flack for it in real life. I get it online.
Right. Because you're not being humanized to that person.
Exactly.
So it's way easier for somebody in Bumblefuck USA to like get annoyed and just let loose on the comment section.
Yeah. And so and which I honestly is like, fairly harmless. I've been like writing on the internet for like 5 years. And
because I was like, the people know you from your writing with Bustle, or did you work other places?
So I was at Good Housekeeping.
Oh wow!
I know.
Okay, what's your write about?
I was the beauty editor there for a year and a half up until this past October, and
well, you're very good at makeup. I look at you, I'm like, what the fuck to buy at Sephora.
I love makeup. So my entire apartment's just hoarding. My poor roommate. And then before that, I was the managing editor of this site called The Gloss, and it was like a lifestyle, fashion, beauty site with like a lot of feminist writers, and it was great. And so I have been dealing with comment sections for a long time with other stuff, just by being like,
what kind of things get said to you in those comment sections?
Before it was just like, I can't believe that you called so-and-so a rapist. How dare you? And like, I used to get a lot of hate.
I can't believe they raped somebody.
Yeah, exactly. I was just like, I don't think it should be that controversial that I don't like Woody Allen. But surprisingly, I think I got a lot of appearance-based ones just that were like, fuck you, blah, blah, blah. I can swear, right? Wait, oh God, no, I just realized the name.
There's no swearing on Guys We Fuck, so if you could just be a little more.
I'll just be a little bit
don't
more.
Don't be a potty mouth.
I'll just say.
Wait, people got mad at you for?
Any people would get mad at anything, and then they go after your appearance, because that's like the laziest way of dismissing somebody, especially anybody who like presents as female, or like who, somebody who is like a female writer. People will go after first your appearance, and second they'll be like, you just want attention. And it's like, but I also want money, and that's why I write. And I'm not going to lie to you. Like, that's like my career. So, and
wow, you just, that's exactly
writing.
The misconception.
That's like my career. I love that.
So I like it. And so I think, but they would always go after my appearance. And so I have had a few different instances where like I get posted on certain men's rights activist boards, and they'll just like Google image search me, which is why I have SEO'd my best selfies.
Hell yeah.
Put all the metadata in, so that way in Google Images, all my good pictures come up and not the really bad ones.
That is such a smart way to handle it.
Move.
I've been doing it since 2012. And
I gotta look that
happy.
up. How to do that later.
I will show you.
Thank you. Great. Yeah, that's really good.
But yeah, so when I came out, I've been like openly queer for a long time, but when I came out as non-binary, I guess I did it on a small feminist site, which is like a super wonderful safe space. It's called Femsplain, and it's just like this really great environment where like a lot of people have written really great personal essays about like sexuality and gender and feminism and, PTSD and eating disorders. It's just like, it's a very healthy environment. So when I originally wrote for them, and I think November about it. So it was like a small version of coming out, because I knew the only people that I,
So this is before your family?
Yeah. This is before my family.
I can't believe you found a healthy place on the internet. That's great.
That's exactly why it's so good, because they like designed it to be like they have a moderated comment section. Like it's really, really safe. And so I knew that like the people that would be reading it most likely would be people who were really encouraging and like people I'm friends with, or people who at least I'm, friends with. And that was great. And if the people that hated me were going to see it, they wouldn't be able to comment anyway. So that was fine.
Yeah. I gotta say, and this is me being a dick. When anyone says the word safe space, I'm like, ugh.
I know.
And but like like your situation, you just want to come out to a community that maybe you'll help somebody by sharing your story, maybe, and just skip the fucking stupid slut comments, right? It's like, just shut the fuck up. Like, so yeah, that's just me telling myself to shut up.
I agree, but my concern with safe spaces is that the world is not a safe space. So
True.
You come out in a safe space, and then doesn't that make the real world even more brutal in a way?
Because you knew I just wanted to come out and just not deal with this stupid shit that's going to get thrown. Because it seems like you absolutely knew. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, part of the thing that I think the most important thing is the world is not a safe space for sure, which is why it's really important to create them. And I think having those, like, for example, like Femsplain has like a lot of writers who are really young, like in their late teens or early 20s. And if they wrote an essay about coming out, and they're in their last year of high school, and they wrote a thing, and suddenly, they got like 25 different comments from people that are like, "Fuck you, cunt," and like
right. And they can internalize
awful.
that.
Yeah, and it is really nice because even though I I know how unsafe the internet is because I've like had my address posted before. Like I know exactly how bad it is. But, and also, the creator of Femsplain has had that stuff happen to her.
Does anybody go to the house?
No.
They're just being an asshole?
No,
like,
it was
truly?
it was on a board. It was like a few years ago.
Did it get taken off right away?
Eventually. But luckily I moved not too long after.
Oh, okay. Because you don't forget that.
But I think safe spaces are really important because I think even though things are terrible all around, it's like it's really important for there to be like small pockets where people can trust each other. And I think like for trans people and non-binary people, like a lot of feminist spaces are not safe spaces because they are where people like who don't believe in trans women or trans men exist. And like those are terrifying places, but they're all over the place.
Really feminist place? I mean, not that feminists are always great. I hate a lot of feminists.
Honestly, sometimes I wanted to ask you, have you ever read an article? You don't have to say who wrote it or what the article was or where it was, but have you ever read something and no. Oh, no, I really didn't. But have you ever read something of somebody else's work and you're like, oh, are you fucking serious? Because I do feel that I read broadly. I used to read Jezebel, then it's just really started to piss me off because it came off like some of the articles were great. And then some of the articles were too compensating for the feminist movement. And it didn't. And I was like, I thought that feminism was equality and support, but also being able to call somebody out on their shit in an intellectual, smart, calm way, blah, blah, blah. But some of the things that I've read are too anti-men or too, I don't know. And it made me go, really? That turns me off so much.
I think, there were two things. I think the first is that there are a lot of feminist sites, I think, or I guess a lot of female-centric sites also just like get branded as feminist. Because like Jezebel has like a huge variety of interests, and like I do not agree with a lot of their articles, but at the same time, I also think that so much of the work they've done is really great and important and wonderful. But I think a lot of my issue with some feminist sites is that, and I guess not in the case of Jezebel, but I'm trying to think of another one, but seeing people as infallible because they're women. And I think that is like something I don't appreciate. Like today, for example, a certain Lena Dunham.
I was going to say, I saw that you retweeted the Lena Dunham abortion comment.
Yeah. And I think saying, criticism against Lena Dunham is like, you're only doing it because she's a woman. It's like, no, it's completely valid. Same as Taylor Swift. There's a lot of women who deserve criticism. And,
a woman should be able to critique a woman. Like that's what helps. Like people should be able to critique each other.
We should be able to critique each other. People should always be striving to improve. And like, same as like with Hillary Clinton stuff. It's like not all criticism of Hillary Clinton is inherently sexist.
Yeah.
If she does bad things, she should be criticized. It's when somebody is going after her in like an extremely unbalanced way that makes no sense to me. That I feel like is more sexist when somebody's like, oh, well, she wore that suit again. And, why didn't she do her hair a little different? And like, can she not do and, or like, she's trying too hard to be likable. And it's like,
that to me is such a that's
well, I think there's just a lot of criticism in general on the internet that doesn't need to be there because who anointed us king or queen? Like, we are not so perfect that we have the the background to criticize it. I mean, like, I'm into an open conversation, but I feel like it's just everyone's just nitpicking each other, especially celebrities. I mean, you can't do anything if you're a celebrity.
True. And I think with people, like, there are some celebrities where I'm like, oh, they like said something stupid and they came back on it and they apologized, and like, that's okay. Because I think people make really stupid mistakes and should
everybody
apologize.
does.
Yeah, exactly. And the best thing to do usually is to like be like, I apologize and I will learn. And, even if you just want it to go away, like, that's just the quickest way to make it go away. And I don't know why celebrities don't get that. They just double down over and over. But with people like Lena Dunham, with saying things like, I wish I had an abortion.
Yeah. What do you think about that? I just learned that because right before you came over, Corinne read it. And I was like, huh.
Because it's the number one thing trending on Twitter. Yeah.
Do you lean?
So the statement that she said, I mean, we didn't read the whole article because the doorbell rang. But it basically, she said, even though she has not had an abortion, she said that she wishes she had one for the experience.
I think for the guise of like being like, I wish I could do that so I could, fight stigma and be a better advocate, something like that.
Okay.
And the thing is with that, it's just like, you shouldn't need to be within
an ally.
You can, and being an ally, is part of it is like not making things about you and amplifying voices that are above or different than yours.
Not making things about you. I mean, did you see Girls?
Sure. But it's like, she has a whole show for that. Why is she
right?
But I think the abortion, it's like, that is such a weird, privileged thing to say.
Yeah. And that's that's what it is. It is a weird, privileged thing to say.
Yeah.
Lena Dunham is not a bitch for saying that. It's like that there's no middle ground of criticizing somebody like Lena Dunham because she isolates people so much that it's like we're fucking rooting for which football team's going to win with like all of our fiber of all our being. I'm like,
and there's so much sexist criticism of her. There is a lot that's just like, well, she looks like this, so she is a terrible person. And it's like that, I think, gets blended in with all the valid criticism. So it seems as though any valid criticism of her is sexist, when in reality it's like there's two different sides. It's like
critiquing her as an artist.
Yeah, critiquing her as like a public figure who's decided that she wants to speak about feminism as publicly as possible without learning about it as much as she should.
Well, she's a narcissist with her heart in the right place, I think. I think she means well. I think for the most part.
Sounds like she's open to learning. I do not know her personally, but she probably is.
I hope so. And I think I know
she listens to the critiques that she gets, like when she gets them in a large scale.
I hope so, because I think with some celebrities, of any gender, they just double down over and over, and then they don't learn. And with this kind of, with her, like her views on like sex workers and her views on or like her statements on abortion, stuff like that, it's kind of.
What are her views on sex workers?
I would have to look them up a little bit closer.
But she has like very...
They're a little too swervy. So it's like a TERF is like a trans exclusionary radical feminist. A SWERF is like a sex worker exclusionary radical feminist. And kind of like this idea, a lot of celebrities have this idea that like, who speak about sex work, have this idea that like, sex work is, inherently evil. And in reality, there's like tons of sex workers who can advocate much better for themselves and who are fine and who are not trafficked. And, they don't need a celebrity voice to speak for them.
Okay.
So that makes a lot of sense.
But
that feeling.
Also just, do you guys edit things out?
No, we can if you need to.
The one I was going to say, I just want to make sure that I'm going to double check and make sure that I am right that it was Lena Dunham that said a few things.
Oh, that's your phone number.
Because I know Anne Hathaway was one of them too.
Oh.
And I was like, did I just make
just two princesses.
I'll check them out. Anyways,
princesses in the celebrity. All right. So there's so much the words that I wrote and read today that I am confused. So now, just like starting, this is just a question I had. So it's like, I've always felt like what I would characterize as like a tomboy, but I do feel like I have the parts of a lady, and I feel like I am like, I want to identify as a woman. So what's the what's the difference? What was the thing that like put it over the edge? Like, how do you know we're on the spectrum? So many words. Just walk us through it.
It's so weird because it's really, I get that question a fair amount. And I'm never quite sure how to answer it because I think it's so personal between person to person. Okay. Like it's so, it's such like a, I guess, personal journey for lack of a better term and like experiential sort of thing that it's like hard to pinpoint. And I definitely don't want to make statements about all non-binary people, but for me, it was like, I've never been what could be considered a tomboy at all. And I've always kind of looked the way that I do. I've also looked like I was 25 since I was like 12. So that didn't help.
How old are you?
I'm 27.
Okay.
And I like I was like 5'7" in 6th grade and then just stuck like that. And so I've like had boobs and like hips since then. And so I've always kind of looked very feminine. And also, I've always just loved makeup. And that's like something that's like really, typically associated with women. Mm-hmm. And so it wasn't like a feeling of like how I wanted to look inherent. Like it was like, that was part of it later on where I was like, I wanted to experiment and I was kind of trying to figure out how other people would see me with the androgyny stuff. But it was also just, I remember in 2011, maybe I read it on a message board. Like I read about people who are non-binary and I started reading all these like personal stories about it. And so many of them sounded like me. And I hadn't really had it put into words.
It had clicked for the first.
That's felt a connection to a community.
That's the same way I figured out that I had obsessive compulsive disorder.
Oh my God.
I just read a book because I was like, this just doesn't feel normal. I mean, that's different because it's not normal. Like having OCD, and I'm like, this doesn't feel normal.
It doesn't feel like regular anxiety or or like
I was like, what is this?
Yeah. I have obsessive compulsive disorder, and I have no idea how people do not have it because it's like the only thing I know.
Well, but also a lot of people will be like, oh, I'm so OCD. I'm like, no. If you had OCD, you there would be hours missing from your fucking day.
No, so. I know when people tell me they're OCD, they're like, I wash my hands a lot. I'm like,
no, that's not it.
Same thing.
Do you also tap all 4 doors before you leave the house 8 times? No. Shut up.
Well, it's like also speaking of things that Lena Dunham has tried to. That was the thing that bothered me most. The episode where she like said, like all of a sudden reveals she has OCD, and I'm like, you could have just copied it from the Jack Nicholson movie.
And
that was
went away really quickly. It's just weird.
She's got good control over it.
That made me laugh.
I wish I did that. Yeah.
And now what do you say? I'm sure people have been like, well, you're just confused.
Yeah. So how do you
answer that?
I've done a few different ones. One is that I'm confused. One is that I want attention, which is
do men tell you that? Is it mostly men?
Online, it's actually a lot of men, but it is a lot of women too. There are women on.
Women can be shitty too.
So yes, that's why I asked if you Google me. There's a woman who wrote a very lovely article
about you,
about how I have thrown people under the bus. How all non-binary.
What a bitch!
I think she said all non-binary women get, which is like
that doesn't even make sense.
I know. Yeah. I was like, it was just very strange and contradictory, and it just like the whole thing is like ignorant. This very odd argument about how like. Basically saying like if you identify as non-binary, you're like abandoning women and like you're not showing solidarity, something like that. And it's weird and wrong. And
does she identify as a feminist?
She sure does.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm talking about with some of this.
Site.
Yeah,
but she's also a joke to most feminists. Feminists like in media. I think I remember like I tweeted out like screenshot of the article, and so many people. She's a Canadian. She's a Canadian feminist, and so many of my friends who are Canadians were like, "No, we're very ashamed of her. Okay, she's not one of us." But yes, I have had people say I'm confused. I think to that kind of question, it's more like I think a lot of non-binary people, and also trans people, and also anybody, just needs this like space to not feel solidified, since it is such a confusing kind of path that like once you realize that you're on it, it's like hard to kind of pinpoint where you are in it. So like, for example, when I was in 2011, when I was like 21 and kind of realizing it, I was like, oh, okay, I want to bind my chest and I want to look androgynous and I want to, dress a certain way because I am genderqueer. Like that's, I'm non-binary, I'm genderqueer. I am, this is how I want to look and this is how I want people to see me. And like, this is, what I want. And then I kind of stopped feeling that way, or I guess I didn't stop feeling that way. I stopped thinking about it because I was sad about it, and I could tell that no one was ever gonna see me androgynously. And at the time, I like really, that was like the only line that I had to go off of, was like, as soon as somebody doesn't know if I'm, you know, like what gender I am, like that's the winning line.
That's when I'll feel the most me.
And in reality, it's like that was just because I like kind of had, you know,
preconceived notions.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
exactly. And I was like, oh, if I'm genderqueer, then I have to look this way.
Right.
And in reality, you know, once I realized that that wasn't the case, like I felt a lot different. But I do
it's like
know
you're getting out of a box to be put in another box almost.
Exactly.
That's what I find a little bit confusing about all this, because it's like I am all for like not fitting someone into this little box or having you choose one of three choices.
Yeah.
But then it seems like so many people are then trying to fit into some other group. And that also feels equally suffocating in a way.
Yeah. And I think it's like there are so many different gender identities, and there's so many different ways that people can feel and identify. And also that can change from day to day. Like there are, you know, I know some people who are very gender fluid, and like some days they'll feel like they want to look very masculinely, and some days they'll feel like they want to look very feminine. Sometimes they want to not feel, you know, or sometimes they don't want to look any way at all. And, you know, but they still identify as gender fluid. They still identify as non-binary. And having the kind of like ability to have people like accept that, I guess, is really important to a lot of people who identify as
people
non-binary.
that they know and love, or the world.
I mean, I think, in my opinion, it's like kind of a lost cause right now to feel like the world will kind of
Baby steps, though.
Baby steps. I know that hypothetically I started binding, and like I went on if I went on hormones, then I know that might not be accepted by a lot of people, and that's something that's kind of stressed me out. But I think having the ability to know that like at least your loved ones will, you know, that is really important. Also, I have friends that identified as trans, and then eventually they felt more non-binary, and they realized that they didn't identify as, I guess, a binary gender, which like trans men are men and trans women are women, and that is still, you know, within a binary. And having the ability to be like, well, maybe I am somewhere in between is important. Yeah. And I think it's really good for people to like understand that is not necessarily like what your first judgment is not necessarily going to be where you are forever. Just like how a lot of people think that they are straight, and then, you know, 30 years later, they're like, oh, wait, maybe I'm not. And that's okay. And like, I'm queer. And now I know that.
And with the word queer, does that mean that you are attracted to anyone?
Any gender, yeah.
Okay.
I've dated primarily straight men, actually. And because of the way I look, like that makes some sense.
But wait, you said earlier that you were attracted to women.
I am too, yeah.
But also in addition to?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's not bisexual because you are also attracted to trans men and women, other non-binary.
I'm attracted
people.
to non-binary people, yeah. And I mean, if
There's like the whole thing, right?
Yeah, and if I was attracted only to trans men, I would still consider, in my opinion, that straight.
Yeah.
Because, but I mean, for me, I'm attracted to like pretty much any gender. I've like dated people who are also, I mean, most recently I did start seeing somebody who's wonderful and amazing and also non-binary, and we joke about it a lot. So, but I mean, yeah, I think so. For me, queer is like an all-encompassing kind of thing. I think some people have different meanings of it, but for me, it's very much. And I'll never fault anybody for, you know, identifying as bisexual. I get it. I think it's a little bit easier to explain. It's a little more familiar, but I definitely consider myself. I use the word queer. I don't think I've used the word bisexual for myself in like, I don't know, 8 years or 10 years or something.
And then going off what we were talking about before with loved ones, like how did your family react? How are they reacting? How do they feel? Yeah, it's because it's
and
new.
What did you say?
So I got drunk on Christmas Eve.
Perfect.
I got drunk on Christmas Eve. And on Christmas Eve, I was with a couple of my friends, and I was like, you know what? Sure, now is a good time. And I just like wrote a Facebook status and I was like, I identify as non-binary.
Oh, on Facebook.
Oh, non-binary people.
Oh, yeah.
They're just like us.
Just real weird.
They get wasted and say shit on Facebook like I do.
So much. But I mean, I'm much more of a drunk tweeter.
I'm a high tweeter.
Oh yeah.
Drunk tweeting is fun.
Oh my God. Well, so that night I like came out on Facebook at, I don't know, it was like midnight and I was really drunk. And then the next day I woke up still at the same friend's house and she was like, do you want tea? And I was like, no. And I pounded like 5 beers at like 8 a.m.
Wow.
And I live tweeted it. So there's some really great tweets from Christmas Day 2015.
Wait, why
goodness.
did you just choose to do that because you're like, I want to push this further, but makes me uncomfortable?
No, I just love getting drunk on Christmas. And I was like, well, I'm not with my family. We did Christmas a week ago, which same case this week. I did Christmas 2 days ago. And so I think I'm going to.
And then did your family see that? Or how did you tell your family?
They did. And I briefly spoke to them about it, but we haven't really talked about it much. And I think.
Oh, interesting.
It's probably something that like.
Is because you're Latina, right? Or
yeah, I'm half Peruvian, half white.
Well, how do you wait now? If you're non-binary, do you say Latin?
I say Latinx is like the Latinx is like usually how Latin. Oh my God, I can't even talk.
Okay, yeah. So I saw that on your Twitter, and I was like, is this S&M or something Latin inspired?
It's more. I think a lot of people have like started accepting it as like a gender neutral term because so many languages, especially Spanish, have like feminine and masculine words. And so like this is like an easy way of saying instead of Latina or Latino, it's a little bit of a more neutral way. And so I've seen it a lot more, especially with a lot of my friends that are also non-binary. But some people that are not non-binary also use it just as like a more neutral way.
Cool.
But yeah, so I'm half Peruvian, half my mom is like Mayflower white. Like you can like literally trace us back to Salem witch trials.
Oh,
white,
cool!
Wow,
I have an ancestor that was hung.
Oh my God, that's a different podcast. But I'm
being a witch.
fascinated.
Isn't that bananas? And then also my grandfather's very into genealogy. We also have an ancestor who was on who was a judge during the Salem witch trials, which is like,
dude, I just got my genealogy kit. I'm gonna send it in,
so
find out some shit. Did the person get hung in Salem witch trials because she was a witch, but like also was she just like sleeping around?
I wonder
because like I have a theory of like they confused the word whore and witch back then, and
they sure did.
Well, and it was an easy way to just get people you didn't like out of your town. You're like,
she's a witch.
I heard Sandra's a witch, so I just want to spread that around.
Yep. Oh, absolutely.
Fascinating.
Like, Ashley is just
she's a witch,
being a real witch.
Tons of Ashleys in Salem.
Classic old timey name.
I think she was probably hung for being slutty because I'm projecting, and so that makes.
Are you slutty?
I have the word slut tattooed on one side of my.
Yes.
So either I'm a horrible fraud, or
you better be a big slut then.
Oh my God!
What made you want to?
Can you show us that later?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. Or now? I mean, you can show us it now.
I mean, I guess it's like right here. So
it just looked uncomfortable to show us now.
Slut, and then a beautiful. Is that a white ink,
I like
or is it
font.
raised?
Actually, it's a scarification. I have scarification from when I was because white tattoos turn really ugly real fast.
Hey.
So
all right, well, it's pretty.
So, anyways, yeah. So I got that like that's great. Man, a month ago with some friends of mine, and so. I mean, they didn't get that. They did not get the same.
They were there,
but they
matching
got different
slut tattoos.
Okay, we got matching slut tattoos. I actually would totally do that.
I mean, it makes sense. No, one of my friends got TMI though, which I thought was amazing. So that's
where on the body?
I think in the same spot. I was like, if only. I think and on her ribs too, or side boob or something.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I got that tattooed because I was like, I've been called this enough times, and I like the word enough, and it doesn't bother me, so I might as well just have it.
Own it.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
You get called a slut a lot?
Not as much anymore. I mean, sometimes I strangers online, but like when I was like in high school and college, yes, so much. For being slutty. No,
I was going to say, because a lot of times people perceive, or they call you slut because you don't want to fuck them.
No,
there's so many reasons.
No, I banged a lot of people.
Good for you.
Which I was really like. I think for part of it, like in high school, I never really went through a phase where I was like, this is the worst. I think I kind of went through a phase where I was like, I should feel bad about this. And in college, I was like, I should feel really bad about this. Like like I know logically that so many people see this as a negative thing, so like maybe I should. And then I didn't, and I just didn't. I don't know. It just doesn't bother me. So
no fucks given.
it doesn't. I guess I can't. Yeah, I don't really equate sex and like morality. So
I'm trying to get behind why a lot of people get so annoyed and pissed off at the idea that somebody wants to be gender binary.
Oh, yeah.
And I was thinking about, like, I looked at your Twitter profile because Corinne was like, I really want to reach out to Sam to interview her, them, and then that was the whole, and then I was like, oh, we're going to have her, them, fuck. God damn it. Nothing to do with you, but I was getting mad at myself. And then I was like, so many people are so annoyed. And I feel like the reason why is they think that non-binary people are trying to shove it in their face, but you're not. You're just being like, this is what I am.
I mean, there's a lot of people.
And you got to go to your profile to find it. You know what I mean? You're not like handing out flyers like the preacher in the Union Square subway station.
Yeah.
That's fucking throwing in my face.
Yeah. I also don't
hate
DM people. I don't DM strangers to be like, guess what I am.
Right.
Whereas I get DM. I mean, I got one like 2 hours ago that was just like, you're why Clinton lost. And I'm just like, but how much power do you really think I have?
Did you hear about the Colin Jost weekend update?
I wrote about it. I tweeted about it and it got made into a Twitter moment, I guess. And so I got I had to turn off all my notifications from people I didn't know. I also got a shit ton of emails. I got a lot of Reddit notifications and because I have a Google alert.
Oh, every time I see my email Google alert, I say a little prayer and I never pray.
Yeah.
So.
And then once in a while it's just like somebody said you're nice. Like and then
who cares?
You're like ready to be angry and then you're like, ugh, damn
I know.
It's a compliment.
Oh my God.
Well, you could put on the defense so much that that's what you're used to. You know? Like,
well, and so I wrote or like kind of tweeted about it because I was tweeting about how like I mean, that was such a stupid joke. And the thing is, like,
I gotta say, I did. Just to be fully honest, I thought it was funny and I laughed at it.
Totally.
But how did you see it?
Can we see the joke? Do you remember the joke?
So, on Twitter, it was announced on Twitter.
Tinder,
this isn't exactly Tinder, that you can now choose from 27 different genders.
Okay.
Which is also the reason why Clinton lost. Something like that.
Yeah,
something like,
okay.
And I did chuckle, but when you heard that joke, what went through your head?
I mean, I think it's like a trivialization. It's first of all, okay. So I have a few kind of ideas on it, and I wrote about this to the Observer eventually.
Nice.
But basically, like, there are a few things. One is that it's kind of trivializing the idea of like gender identity, and in reality, it's not like
it's not trivial to you.
Yeah, it's not. And it's like for a lot of people, identifying, being able to say like I'm trans or I'm non-binary or I'm genderqueer or I'm gender fluid or anything like that is like it is a really, really important thing. And not having to pick between two is good. And I think that was really important. And with Tinder, it's like I've never been able to put it in my thing and in my profile. I would have had to just write it out. And then you have to deal with questions. Whereas like if people know that there are different gender options and you've just already selected one, like they're less likely to be like, they're less likely to swipe right on you and then ask questions about it. And so I'd rather just like, if you're going to pass me. And so that was part of it. Also, like, this doesn't really apply to me as much, but being able to tell somebody, for some people, and this isn't for everybody, but being able to be like, I'm trans is really important in some ways for certain people's safety, because like literally people have gone out on dates with trans people and then hurt them and used trans panic as a defense. Yeah, it was like a genuinely, in court defensible defensible like argument. And like so it is a life or death situation for some people. For me, it's not as much, but for some people it definitely is. And I think that's also something that,
you're also giving fodder to Republicans that like everyone laughing at that joke. I would think maybe you didn't think this, but the people who, a lot of the racist, sexist people, homophobic people who voted for Trump probably are like, you're damn right. I mean, that's why she lost.
Ton of that.
And you're giving them unwanted.
SNL, though, is a notoriously liberal show, which is why basically all of their political sketches are skewing Democratic. My concern is just like, as a comedian, we're both stand-up comedians. So as a comedian, it's so difficult to start saying like there are certain kinds of things or concepts that we can't joke about.
Yeah, I feel the same way about, this is how I feel the same exact way about rape jokes. Like I think rape jokes inherently, like for not all rape jokes. There are some rape jokes that are funny.
There's a lot of different kinds.
Exactly.
Some of them make me want to barf.
There's some that make the punchline the rapist. And I think that, or like your fear of being raped, that's like in some ways a better punchline, because it's like, we shouldn't have to constantly be afraid of things like that. Haha. Yeah. But, or like rapists are bad. Haha. And so, I mean, obviously that'd be better jokes. But when you make a victim of rape or
I have
a survivor,
rape joke I'll tell you after this recording. So I don't want it on the air.
But when you make a survivor the punchline, there's enough rape culture that it actively contributes to the idea that like rape is normal, that it's not a serious thing. Teenagers genuinely, there are lots of teenagers and college students that don't understand the difference between rape and consensual sex,
which is why it happens so much.
Yeah, and so normalizing it by being like, this is funny, it also like encourages people to not take survivors seriously, and also encourages people to be like, well, get over it, and it's not a serious thing, and it trivializes it. Same with gender, and I think because a lot of people do think that violence against trans people is justifiable, or violence against non-binary people is justifiable, or queer people, because they believe that it's okay. Like, and it's been normalized in some ways. Like, there's a whole lot of, especially, not so much in the past 10 years, but before that, there was so many different medias or movies or TV shows where like, somebody would find out that a woman was quote unquote secretly a man. And in reality, like that was a person who was actually female. It's just they were assigned male at birth.
Oops.
Yeah, exactly. And like they're made into a punchline. Their identity is made into a punchline. Their gender is. And also like their humanity is made into a punchline. And that's dangerous. And so if anybody wanted to make this joke, it should not have been a white cisgender dude, first of all. It should also not be a white cisgender woman. It should also not be a cisgender person. It could have been anybody else, and instead it was him. And it wasn't funny. It wasn't well written. And I also think like in a lot of ways, it also gives not just ammo for like Republicans, it also gives ammo for like leftists and liberals who believe that quote unquote identity politics are like why Clinton lost, and like that it's to no fault of Clinton's, and that it's not because America has tons of racists, and it's not because, some 50-something% of white women voted for Trump. Like, So anyways, basically I thought
that article is it's not saying you can't say that you're not. That's the other thing. Like when people, like when the racist, homophobic Trump person would read your article that she's just trying to make, but you're just going, I didn't think that was funny, and this is why.
It's not funny.
That's what you're.
Yeah.
You're not trying to. I feel like people accuse you, I would think, of shoving something in their faces, but that's their fault. They found you.
Yeah. And also on top of that, it's like, I mean, me and several other people, including like a very wonderful trans woman that I know who isn't even in media and gets so much flack for everything she says, defending trans people as human beings.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, God, she gets death threats so much.
And she's not in the in public eye at all.
Tweets. She has like 3,500 followers at the most, and like people come after her.
Oh my God.
Which is why this is like, it was angering because it was so frustrating to see people laugh about something that like, when in reality, if we talk about it, like if we tweet about it, especially her, who is like literally in danger every day by walking outside because of the fact that like trans women are murdered at like a significantally higher rate than
and trans women of color.
Trans women of color are murdered at I mean, it's genuinely
the
terrifying.
Survival rate of a trans woman of color is
super low. And on top of that, it's like housing discrimination. They make there's a fourth, I think, of trans women of color like living in poverty. Like it's an employment thing, it's a housing thing. And so she just like tweeted about the Colin Jost thing too, and she was getting so much hate for it.
What is being said? Like what is said? You're dumb, you're wrong, or God? Is it a God thing?
I'm sure it's more gruesome than that.
God's gonna fucking.
I mean, you get images of people who are dead. You get a lot of
oh shit.
It's just like, I mean, this is why I empathize a lot with people who write for sites like Jezebel, because like they had to deal every single day with like people putting like photos of raped women on like the site.
God.
Yeah, I mean, it's working in media sucks in a lot of ways, but like
people are
being
monsters.
Criticized versus being like having like awful
images
shit thrown at you is so different. And
so then you actually feel scared.
Yeah, you feel scared, and it's also just like incredibly disturbing. It's super triggering if you have PTSD. And for this situation, I turned off a lot of my notifications, but like I like saw some of them just because it's a little bit, if you're on your phone, sometimes like things will show up that don't get filtered. And I like a lot of them are just like die, commit suicide, blah, 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 T-word. Just like, it's a slur for being transgender. I just don't even like saying.
Oh, the one that.
Yeah.
Wait,
not great.
are we talking about tranny?
Yeah.
I'm going to say it just because
It's okay.
I'll take
Go
the
for
heat
it.
for it.
No, it's fine.
I say
Yeah,
anything. But yeah, no, because I mean, I think a lot of people still use, honestly, like a lot of my gay friends and who do have trans friends, like they will say tranny within their circle, but I'm like, well, they're in the circle and people representative of being trans are present.
Why did that? I feel like that word really makes you cringe.
I hate it. And
why?
I think it's like, because it doesn't get, I mean, don't get me wrong, it doesn't get applied to me very, very much. Like the only time that anybody calls me that is like once in a while, strangers on the internet, because they just have a name. But a lot of the people that I know that are trans that have experienced the most violence have like heard that over and over.
I was going to ask, like, I almost feel like you heard a bad story of somebody getting just beaten and then that word being said, because it's like your reaction to that word is something that people should take seriously.
And it's like, I think for me, it's also, I love I've dated somebody who's a trans woman and she has dealt with like so much more than I can possibly imagine in terms of like, she's very brave in how she presents and she and goes out in the world and is like she's an advocate for other women. She's like so wonderful. And somehow, like she has just dealt with a lot of awful shit for like her religion and for her presentation and for her gender. And that kind of word, I'm just like,
and you saw that
I've seen people, and I've also just like, I've seen things online of just people going after friends of mine and saying that over and over. And it's like, it's this, I don't really use any slur for like race or gender. I really prefer not to, but like for me, it's any of those kind of words that I'm just like, I don't really like any of them.
I understand that. And as a person who has many times previously said, oh God, get over it, that word. But hearing you say that, not that you shouldn't have to explain shit to every ignorant person in this world, but I gotta say,
also.
that's good. Hearing you say that gives me a new perspective.
Yeah,
because I think it's these PC bullshit, extra liberal dumbasses, but it's not. You are very smart, very educated. You're not obnoxious. I honestly thought like all the things that I thought upon like reading your Twitter bio or something are just so not true. And I always try to catch myself being ignorant as often as I can, but a lot of times I just need somebody to tell me why do they feel a cringe when you hear that word.
And I think that that's everybody. Like for me, I mean, I definitely have had times where like I needed to like learn about, like I've said something that was like, for lack of a better term, problematic or like kind of not stereotypical necessarily, but like that didn't have that like either wasn't my joke to make or wasn't my wasn't like the most, I guess,
tasteful.
Positive. Yeah, it wasn't like a good opinion. It wasn't productive, I guess.
Got it.
Like I've been like unnecessarily cynical before.
Exactly. Especially as comedians.
Especially in 2016. But I think there've been times where like somebody's like, hey, like this wasn't a great, like for example, one word that I think like I one time said, like I was like, oh, I feel crippled by my anxiety or something like that. And one of my Twitter followers was like, oh, I wish you wouldn't say that because I think that's kind of like always been a slur for like people with disabilities and especially physical disabilities. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Like I shouldn't have said that. And you're right. And I'm really glad you told me. And it's
but they weren't like you senseless bitch. Yes, that's discriminating against blah, blah, blah. Like, it needs to, if someone has that kind of thought, unfortunately it does need to be presented in a non-aggressive way.
Yeah, a lot of the time I think so. There are also times when I do think that like I think a lot of allyship is about like educating oneself too. So like for example with I guess at one point I didn't get dreadlocks, but at one point when I was like 18 or 19, I was like, I want dreadlocks. And then I started learning about the history of it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I was
pretty much have now.
And I started learning about the history of it instead of kind of Because like I could have just done it, and I think, you know, then maybe somebody would have called me out on it. But it wasn't their responsibility to do that. Like it was my responsibility to be like, oh, I should learn about
to
this.
know what
first.
you're doing, not
Exactly.
just that
Go
looks
into it
cool.
with,
I
like,
want that too,
yeah.
and then you realize, oh, white people have been doing that to black people
Exactly.
forever,
And cornrows, everything with
Yeah.
cultural appreciation. Like I
Yeah.
think that's like one of those, especially with a lot of hair styles. Like I'm just like, all celebrities at this point, like white celebrities really have the tools that they need to know not to do that, or wear, you know, or Hillary Duff wear a Native American headdress for Halloween. I'm just like, you guys know better already. Like,
Yeah.
why are there still sororities dressing up in mariachi outfits, even though they're all white?
Right,
Like-
right. But I think it's so important. It's really important
Yes.
for like with the crippled thing.
Yeah,
I used to say all the time, I wish I just had a wheelchair so I could just wheel to wherever the fuck. And then my boyfriend's father is in a wheelchair from a tragic accident years and years ago. And we go to theme parks every year, and I look every year. We go with him, and then we go to the management office and we get the special pass for a person who's handicapped. And they never look him in the eye, but they talk about him, and he's right there. Like, and I remember at one year I turned to him and I go, "They don't look at you like you're a person." And he's like, "Yeah, you're fucking telling me." Like,
Oh my
he's like,
God.
"No shit." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And I connected the dots. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna say that anymore."
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's like, so much of it is like, I mean, I used to say like the R term that is often used for developmental disabilities.
Right.
Like, that I really had to untrain myself, because I did that, I think, until I was like 17 or 18. And then I was like, oh, I
It's
didn't know
hard.
that was so shitty.
Yeah, when you're a comedian, like we've gotten flack for saying that word, and then I read the emails. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm sorry, your
Yeah,
daughter
exactly.
is retarded. Your
Right.
daughter, that's the word that they're
Developmentally
used."
yeah.
But then when I use that word, I would never think of making fun of a young girl who has mental disabilities, but that's what they feel
Exactly.
when they hear it, because that's their kid. They're with their child every day, and they
Or
see their kid
people with-
being made fun of.
Yeah, and there are people with, you know, like I've like interviewed a model with Down syndrome, and she's, you know, so great at what she does. She's like a super great model, but she also has talked about like how much it hurts when other people say things. So it's just like, it is a personally hurtful thing too, I think.
Mhm.
And I guess like that there are times when I'm just like, oh, I thought something was funny, or oh, I didn't think something was a big deal. And then, you know, as soon as you like realize like, oh, if this was my perspective, like, of course it would bother me. Like,
Yeah.
And
But at a certain point, like, so it's difficult, especially for comedians. Like,
Of
'cause
course.
at a certain point, you just can't walk on eggshells, and almost everything that I can think of that would be interesting to talk about, because it's like comedy is so much, like, you know, making people feel those feelings, and sometimes the feeling is uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what would your advice be to people who need to talk about everything? Because kind of my school of thought is like, I want to talk about the most offensive things, because I think even if, you know, you slip up with terminology, sometimes it's better to just talk about it instead of just not talk about
Just
it at
avoiding
all.
that subject.
I think there are some, I think so. The way that I've like talked to a few of my friends who are comedians about it too. And I think one thing is like, is this, you know, is this punching up or punching down? Like, am I making fun of somebody? Like with the making fun of a rape victim thing, it's like, that's punching down. I feel like that's almost borderline on.
And I've heard jokes where a man does make the rape victim the butt of the joke, and I feel gross. But
Yeah.
because I'm a comedian, I'm like, didn't like that joke. That joke was fucking awful.
Exactly.
But I didn't. That's all that happened.
And when I imagine, like, because I have friends that are, you know, I have friends that like love going to comedy. They aren't comedians, but like they love going to comedy. And they have like walked into a show like alone, and they're just like, you know, they're women, and they walked into a show
the
alone.
guy comedian always
Yeah.
fucking.
Or they'll
passes them.
walk in and they'll like hear like a rape joke, and they're just like, shit. And like, I wish I didn't have to hear about this every time I want to get entertainment. And I think the other thing is to think about like, is this promoting a harmful opinion? Like, am I kind of not, am I like helping to push forward this idea of like a stereotype, a really negative stereotype? Like, am I putting something into the world that like is helping the side that I don't necessarily want to be on? Like, am I helping to affirm stereotypes about like people that are not myself? Like, for example, I have bulimia. I've been bulimic for a very long time. And like, I recently did a couple shows and I did sets about it. And I just tried to make sure like everything I talked about was like about myself and like about.
Wait, are you also a stand-up comedian?
Not really. I've
gonna
just
say,
done a few.
I'm sorry. We're like, well, I'm a comic. I didn't know.
No. I got asked to do. My best friend does
It wasn't in the Twitter bio. Come on, that's all I had to go on.
I know, and that makes so sense. I also do poetry, which is weird.
And that's not weird. I love going to slam poetry.
I
open
love
mics.
poetry. It's so.
I don't
fun.
do it, but I love watching people.
I
do it.
almost graduated with a degree in poetry.
Oh wow,
that's awesome.
I didn't even know that was possible. I mean, I did,
right?
but
well, it's not because I didn't do it.
I'm sure someone has.
Wasn't the right thing for you.
Yeah, no, college definitely wasn't. But I've done like a few. I've done like maybe 5 shows, so not really. I would not consider myself a comedian. I would consider myself.
You've done comedy though, for sure.
Yeah, a comedian. But
an artist, a performer.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
A muse, an idol. But I did like most of my jokes like about myself, and I tried to make sure that they were kind of like centered around me, which sounds egotistical, but I also didn't want to give people the idea that like
that's a safe route because you can't get mad because these are my things.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. What you know has been around for ages.
Exactly.
I mean, that's normal. I know. I'm sure we have to wrap up soon, but I earlier today, like basically like this whole episode was just kind of like, we're really confused about something.
Sure, yeah.
And to be honest, I want someone who doesn't seem very terribly annoying to explain it to us in a non-judgmental way. Doing a great job. But I had people tweet like, can you ask a question that you might have for a non-binary person and don't worry if you sound offensive or dumb.
Yeah.
So can I ask them these questions?
Let's do it.
Yeah. And no one should feel these are just questions that people thought. And I think it's better to clear them up by someone who knows rather than just like let them linger in your head and kill you. So this person asked, what does gender dysphoria feel like?
Oh gosh, that I feel like is, I guess that would be definitely a personal enough thing. Like I don't think I have gender dysphoria necessarily.
Okay. Because I was gonna say, and have you even experienced it?
So I can't actually. Yeah, I don't think I could speak to that very well.
Have you ever had any friends who experienced gender dysphoria?
Yes, and I think for them, I mean, and I don't speak for all of them, but for the few that like have really told me a lot of those feelings, like it's just extreme I would say extreme discomfort, a lot of it
with their physical being.
With their physical, for them it was, for the few that I'm talking about, like it was their physicality, and also being constantly misgendered, like constantly having people be like she as opposed to he, or she as opposed to them, and vice versa. I think for me it's like I haven't experienced that the same way. I have body dysmorphia, like I have because of the whole eating disorder thing, but like, which
do you
is
think
different to
you're
me,
overweight?
No, I just can't really figure out what my body looks like. I just like, I mean, yeah. So I like, so once in a while, I like, I mean, when I
was like, yeah, okay.
Like, I mean, which is totally, definitely different. But I mean, that like, I guess is the only like comparison I have is just like, I'm always weirded out by my body and it doesn't feel ever quite right. But it's definitely different because with like eating disorders, it's like, there's no end goal besides I'm just going to have an eating disorder for whatever. I mean, sometimes I believe it's that I'll get skinny, but like in reality, like that's not
mine.
The case.
I was bulimic for like 8 months.
Yeah.
It was all control. I wanted control
a lot
something.
of it is a control thing. At this point, I'm like just straight up addicted to being bulimic. I mean, because it's like a chemical thing too.
Oh, well, the reward system and the just like your what you do throughout your day, your schedule. Okay.
Yeah. And with gender stuff, like a lot of it, gender dysphoria for other people, and this is obviously different for everybody, but it can be, there is an end goal. Like there is like I finally feel like I'm becoming the person I want to become. So it's a lot different, but that's, I mean, I guess I would just think of it as probably discomfort.
Okay. No, this is great. We're going to go right through these. Sure. We kind of answered this one already, but this person asked, can most people tell you're non-binary, or do you have to come out like gay or bi people?
Yeah, I usually have to just come out.
Okay. And like, how do you just like on a date or something? Like, if you,
how do you say
most people have already Googled me because I date a lot through Twitter. So if somebody, I mean, I date a lot through Twitter. So somebody like already knows.
Well, they already know. That's nice.
Or like if I met a guy in an Uber pool once, and then he Googled me by the next date, and he was like, "So, I saw your Esquire." I wrote about it for Esquire. I forgot about that. After the Small Feminist site, I 4 months later wrote about it for Esquire, and that was when That's when I get a lot more questions.
The internet hell broke loose. Yeah.
Yeah. I can only.
So usually that's what comes
a little
up.
more mainstream. Yeah. And then everyone goes crazy. So this is more of a comment, but if you have anything to add to it, this person says it's like understanding what the world is like to someone who is colorblind. Conceptually, I accept it, but I can't internalize it.
Mm-hmm. I think that's.
But they don't have. This person is not gender binary.
No, but it seems like I think like a straight dude. Yeah. And so.
Because you don't have to internalize it if you're not that.
Right. Well, I always, I think there's a difference because people a lot of times are like that. I accept that. But I think the next level after accepting is understanding. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because
maybe
then,
that's what he meant. Yeah.
I think accept it. To me, I think the next level is like, because it's like there's tolerating, and then there's accepting.
Right.
And then it's just like, I think kind of respecting. Like, it's just like, for example, like I'm never going to know what it's like to be perceived as I'm never going to know what it's like to be a person of color. Like that's just never going to happen for me. But I and obviously this is different, but it's like I can respect their experiences and their perspective and their, identities, but I will genuinely never understand what it's like because I don't have those experiences or that identity or that life or their perspective. And so,
it's like a take their word on it.
That's when you put your listening ears on.
Yeah, exactly.
You just listen.
Exactly. And that's why I can't assume to know what they would feel like. So.
Okay. And then what's the difference between non-binary and pansexual?
So non-binary is a gender identity. Pansexual is a sexual orientation. Is like so who you're
Mary
attracted
Beth
to.
said she was she came on the pod. We did a podcast thing for Pride Month, and
awesome.
We asked people to submit clips because we wanted to hear from the LGBTQIA community. And I remember Mary Beth said she was pansexual, and I was like,
awesome.
Word? Okay. Yeah. I didn't know that. I've known you for years.
I feel like sometimes these are all tweets,
like,
not my own questions. Sometimes I know the answer, but I just am not reading it. This one is interesting. Why do people take such pride in being non-binary / act like it's an accomplishment?
Ooh.
I know gender. I said open, whatever.
Oh, no.
I know gender is a spectrum, but IDGI, I don't get it.
I don't give a fuck.
Totally.
I don't get it.
And I think that part of it is like a visibility thing. So I am like, I would say I'm as proud of it as I am of being Peruvian. It's just like who I am. It's like I'm stoked on it.
Yeah.
And it's cool, but it's also not like it's not one of those things where I'm like, this is an accomplishment necessarily. I mean, I think accomplishment wise, I'm like, oh, I have a good career and I have really great friends and I run a support group. Like that's stuff that I think of as accomplishments, but I think is an identity. It's more just something that I'm like vocal about because there are increasing numbers of people who are non-binary, but there aren't it's not like a widespread thing. And I answer a lot of DMs and I would never, ever, ever post any of them or quote any of them really, but I get a lot of DMs from people that are like, I'm confused about my gender identity and like, can I talk to you about it? And that's one of the other reasons I'm vocal is because like I would rather that person message me or anybody else who's non-binary than to be a 15-year-old who, is super confused and feeling really bad about themselves and feeling like they're alone and not have anybody to like vent to or whatever. And so that's important to me. It's definitely not an accomplishment, but it's definitely, I want to be vocal about it. And also like myself and a few other people that I'm pretty good friends with, like are really into makeup and also very into beauty. And like, that's something that's not associated with being non-binary necessarily. Because it's just like, oh, well, you have to be, again, like you have to be androgynous and you have to like not be into lipstick if you're going to be like presenting kind of male.
When people realize that all gay men don't talk like that's all the time. Like that's not how gay men talk.
The thing
some,
like,
sure.
You don't sound gay. I didn't know you were gay. And it's like, that's supposed to be seen as like, who?
Yeah. No, that's a good question because it comes off as like ignorant, but then it's good that person asked in that exact way because there was clearly,
Well, do other non-binary people ever shit on you because you are so into beauty and makeup? Like you're not being the non-binary person that they think you should be?
It's happened one or two times, but so rarely.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a few people be like, you don't speak for all of us. And it's like, I don't really want to, so that's fine.
You should always just be speaking for yourself as an individual.
And in some ways, like there are times when I'm just like, but for the most part, I've had one or two of those, but most of the people that I know especially through Twitter, that are non-binary are really understanding. So I haven't really encountered that very much.
Okay. And then the last question, I mean, this one says, I've always been curious about people who identify as trans later in life. Caitlyn Jenner is the most typical example. I can only imagine how many times the name Caitlyn Jenner has been brought up to you. I mean, obviously being trans and non-binary are different. I think that's something that people are confused about to begin with. Do you have any comments on that?
I mean, like, and how they're different?
Well, no.
Why someone would come out later in life?
Well, later in life,
you don't want to
like,
get killed.
Caitlyn Jenner was always trans, and I mean, like, if you watch like pieces about her life, you kind of like see the slow progression of it happening.
Yeah.
And I've watched interviews with her where she always said that I didn't feel the way I looked and things like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, you said you knew something was
It
different.
was gradual, yeah. And it was like, I knew there were different things. Like, I mean, I think that the reason why I eventually came out, or I kind of realized it, was like, I found other people that were, and I heard them speak, and I was like, oh, this is like what I've been trying to put into words. And it's kind of like that little like click where you're like, oh my goodness, I had no idea that other people felt like that.
And that's a sense of belonging to a place that you didn't even think.
Yeah, and I knew
could feel that way.
Like, I knew I was attracted to girls starting in 3rd grade, but I didn't know the word for it until I was like in 7th grade. I think I didn't know there was anybody else that felt like that until I was older. And as soon as I realized that, I was like, oh, okay, like this is an okay thing. And I think that kind of happens with other people where they're like, they didn't find the words for it, or they didn't know they had a safe arena to come out, or they like didn't have the means to because for me, I'm totally safe. Like, I know, like, I make enough money that I can support myself. If hypothetically Bustle's been really amazing about it, but like hypothetically they like an employer previously like fired me, I would be able to survive. So it wasn't a danger thing for me. For some people, it's like they have to wait until it's super safe, or like they're financially secure enough that if they lost their job, like, they would not go homeless. So for some people, it's like a survival mechanism to just like not come out, or to not present a certain way, or to only present privately a certain way, or to, use.
Well, are groups like the ACLU doing work for non-binary, trans, or not, or they're kind of forgotten? I
mean, I think it's like I'm not actually sure the percentage, but I have read that like a lot of those groups, it is a lot lower of a percentage, like, especially, I mean, in general, LGBTQ, it's a lot lower than a lot of other causes, but I mean, also it's unfortunate, like, that they have to do so much fighting, but I think Transgender Law Center is one of, if I'm not forgetting.
Okay, yeah.
There's also the Trevor Project, which is like fucking incredible. Like, they provide like a ton of resources, especially to like trans and non-binary youth and queer youth.
Oh, that's great.
Which is really wonderful.
Important.
Because so many people end up being and like so many people end up being homeless or get thrown out of their homes. And so it's good to have like resources for that, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of, we'll put up some links and some articles. And if you have any recommendations of articles, if people want to kind of like read further, or books, or if you're feeling confused or anything like that. Yeah. Thank you so much for sitting down and letting us really pick your brain.
Really appreciate
this was so fun.
How can people, do you want people to be able to find you on Twitter?
Yes, totally.
How can they find you?
My Twitter handle is @myhairisblue.
Okay, perfect. That's easy to spell, easy to remember. Thank you so much for sitting down with us today.
Thank you so much.
This has been Guys We Fucked, the Anti-Slut Shaming podcast. We'll talk to you next Friday.